Hey, here we go. Tunchik Kiwa, hello, how are you all? I'm the Youth Employment Coordinator with the Ministry of Youth, and I want to thank Manny, who is the Director of Talent Acquisition from the Fairmont Pacific Rim Hotel. And I just want to thank him for accepting our invitation to be with us today. And I will let him introduce himself in a moment. But first, I want to respectfully recognize the people on whose land I am situated on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And where I'm speaking from today, as I mentioned, I would also like to recognize the 39 Métis chartered communities across BC. And yeah, we can start from here, Manny, if you want to start your PowerPoint. Oh, I think we have someone coming in.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Josh. I'll just share my screen now and then. Okay, can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. So thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. It's always great to be able to talk about Fairmont and speak to Métis Nation and all of the amazing candidates that they do have. So just to introduce myself, as Josh mentioned, I'm Manny Judge. I'm the Director of Talent Acquisition. So for my role, I oversee 5 Fairmont properties, and I oversee all of the recruitment. And essentially, my role is focused on attracting the best talent. So we really want to hire the best talent that's out there. We want to work closely with all of the community, schools, colleges, universities, nonprofits, and really make everybody aware of who we are, what opportunities we have, and what potential careers are available with Fairmont. Okay. So in regards to Fairmont, Fairmont, for anyone that isn't aware of Fairmont, we are the leading luxury hospitality group in North America and one of the leading groups in the world. We are actually part of a much larger organization called Accor. Accor is the third largest hospitality group in the world. So within Accor, we have around 5,300 hotels in more than 120 countries. And on average, we open 1 new hotel every day around the world. So huge organization. Within Accor, there's a range of different brands. There's Sofitel, Raffles, Banyan Tree, Pullman, Mercure, Ibis, so many different hotel brands within there. And Fairmont is one of those brands. In regards to Fairmont itself, our focus is around luxury hospitality. And our focus essentially is ensuring that our guests, we can turn moments into memories. And when I talk about, luxury service and making memories, I often feel the best way to actually explain that is by giving an example. So this is a real example from some guests that stayed at Fairmont. So we had some guests. It was a young family that came, and they weren't from Vancouver. They came to Vancouver. They stayed in one of the Fairmont properties in Vancouver. They had a great time. And then they left the hotel, they checked out, and they went to the airport. Now, that family had a young daughter within the family. When they arrived at YVR, the daughter realized she had lost her teddy bear. And so, this being a young child, obviously this was everything for that child. She didn't want to get on the flight. Parents were in a lot of distress. They didn't know what to do. They didn't have enough time to come back to the hotel. So they phoned up the hotel and, in a bit of a panic and said, look, this is the situation. We don't really know where the teddy bear is. We don't know if we left it, we were exploring downtown. We don't know if we left it in Vancouver somewhere. We don't know if it's in the hotel. But, is there anything you can do? So the member of staff that answered the call, essentially was in a customer service capacity. So what he did was, the first thing is he found out which room the guests were staying in and went to check in the room. By this time, the room had been made, and so there was no teddy bear there. So then he went to the laundry, And if anyone's seen the laundry of a hotel, it's a huge space. He personally went through all of the laundry and then he found the teddy bear. So then what he did was he got the teddy bear and took the teddy bear around the hotel. So first he took it to the spa. He took some pictures of it in the spa, took it to the gym, took some pictures of it there, took it to the restaurant, put some food and drink in front of it, took some pictures, took some pictures of it in a room, did all of these and printed all of these photos, put them in a photo album and titled the photo album, "Sorry I Missed You, but I wanted to stay longer and enjoy the hotel." He then sent that photo album and the teddy bear to arrive at the guest's home before they arrived back. Now, that is I think a very good example of what I talk about when I say we want to create positive memories for our guests. So rather than the risk of those guests leaving, their trip and their stay at Fairmont thinking, oh yeah, we had a terrible time because our daughter was really upset or she lost her teddy bear, we actually were able to change that into a really positive memory and something that ensured that obviously the daughter was happy, but all of the guests were happy with that. So that is, I think, a really good example of what that looks like. And with that piece, we don't have a policy for, if a guest loses a teddy bear, this person didn't go to their manager and say, what do I do in this scenario? For us, what we want to promote with our employees is for them to be able to be creative, to use their imagination and think of ways of providing great service and making memories for guests. So this individual who at first came up with that as an idea to ensure that they left with a positive memory. And so I think that's a really good example of what our service looks like and who we are. So this, if you can see the screen now, this is a little bit about our history, where we started out. I'm not going to read through all of this, but we started out in San Francisco in 1907. We are growing within Fairmont. We are very busy. We're expanding. We now have around, I believe, more than 90 hotels. And we have a lot more hotels that are planned to open in the future across the world. So we're very, very busy, we're growing, and there's a lot of demand. And what we're actually finding is that, with our guests, it's not always people who are coming from abroad, maybe on vacation, etc. We also attract a lot of local people who want to come, maybe just have a weekend stay, maybe enjoy the spa, maybe just have a nice relaxing time, go to maybe one of the fine dining restaurants and just enjoy the hotel. So, we are very busy and we are expanding all the time. In regards to my role, as I mentioned, I oversee 5 hotels. These are the 5 hotels. So it's Fairmont Pacific Rim. Fairmont Pacific Rim is, it's my base. It is a Forbes 5-star rated hotel. It is the best hotel in BC and probably the best in Canada. And that's not just my opinion, that is off official awards, etc. It has been rated as that. And then we have Hotel Vancouver in the middle there. And then we have Fairmont Waterfront, Fairmont Vancouver Airport, and Fairmont Empress in Victoria. So there's a lot more Fairmont properties, but these are the 5 that I oversee. And the one thing I would mention, I think, with these properties is that they're all great properties. They're all Fairmont, they're all luxury, but they're all very, very different. They all have their own vibe, their own culture, and they attract different types of guests, have different positions available. So I think it's important to understand some of those differences between those hotels. As an example, Fairmont Pacific Rim is a very modern hotel, and the focus is really around art, music, and fashion. It's often seen as a living room of Vancouver, and it's where a lot of people want to be. That's very different from, say, Hotel Vancouver, which has a lot of tradition, a lot of history and heritage in that hotel. So again, very different properties, but all amazing to work for. In regards to positions, I want to talk about first of all, I think some of the departments that there are in hospitality and within Fairmont. So often people think about, when they think hotels, they think maybe front desk, maybe they think of housekeeping and serving. And we do have those departments and those types of positions. But there are a lot more departments within hotels that people don't always realize. We have a marketing department, we have IT, we have security, we have a spa, we have HR and talent culture, we have accounting and finance, revenue management, payroll, and then we also have engineering as well, and trade. So we hire maintenance people, we hire power engineers, mechanical engineers, we hire R&Ts in the spa. So many different positions. There's sales as a big department as well. So again, a lot of different departments, a lot of different positions. It's not just a typical guest facing, and our focus is finding the right candidate. So we don't want to settle, we want to find the right people, because we want you to be happy working for us, and we want to be happy with that you're the right candidate for the position that we have. So at the moment, it's a quieter time right now. So we have around 50 vacancies. At a busy time, we're looking at around 600. And it's a mix of part-time, full-time, some are seasonal, some are permanent. There's leadership and salaried positions as well. I've listed a few of the positions there. I couldn't fit all of them on to this slide. There's a lot more available. And when you access our website, you can see all of the positions, and it's changing all the time. So if you are potentially interested, I'd recommend you have a look at the website. I'll share the link with you shortly. Okay, so I want to touch upon benefits, perks, and the work culture. I think it's really important that, for us as an organization and for our employees to feel that they're happy in work. We want to attract good people. We want to keep them motivated and happy, and ideally we want to keep them. And so we're really focused on ensuring, what can we do as an organization to make the environment a positive working environment. So we have a range of different benefits, perks, and from my experience, this is some of the best benefits and perks that I've seen in more or less all industries. There's a lot here. I won't read through all of them, but a couple of ones that I wanted to point out. So, you do get at most of the hotels, it's free lunch when you're working, and it's amazing food. So you may gain weight. So that's why I always say to candidates, because it's amazing food and it's free. But that does also really help, if you're coming into Vancouver and, if you're going and purchasing lunch every day, that can add up, right? So, having quality food and it's sort of healthy, a lot of different options. That's free is always going to be a great benefit. We have discounted travel, so discounted compass passes for people who are coming in on transit to be able to help them get into work. We have an amazing health, dental and vision benefits, a huge amount of benefits and perks around that piece. You also do get your birthday off as well. And it's funny, that actually came from some candidates, because what we also try to do is we try to listen to what candidates are looking for. And one thing that was coming up from a lot of younger people was, well, I want my birthday off. And that's typically not what happens in most employers. But we thought if that's important, then we want to be able to do that. We have a great pension. You get your uniform and all the dry cleaning. And then I think the other piece that I want to mention around this is around further training and development. So we understand that a lot of people want to grow and develop their careers, and that fits into what we're looking for as well. So we want to attract people, and we want to support and grow and develop them in their careers. And a really good example of this is our CEO. So our CEO, she actually started off in housekeeping in an entry-level position, and now she's the CEO of the organization. So when people say, you know, Manny, will I be able to progress? Will I get that promotion? Is it realistic? You know, that just shows you that it's definitely possible. And it really comes down to you. We will support you. And you know, the opportunity is there. And to support in that piece, we also have funds available through eCornell. So we recognize that some people maybe want to do further qualifications and training once they are employed with us. And maybe they want to move into a different department, etc. And there are funds available for that. I think one of the big benefits around working for Fairmont is the opportunity to actually get into any department. So, you know, maybe you're looking to work in marketing, and maybe you don't have experience in marketing. And you're looking for marketing positions, and they're all saying you need experience. One of the things we can do at Fairmont is we can start you in a position that's more entry level, and very quickly you're able to move. And once you understand the hotel, you're able to move into those different departments. Using talent and culture as an example, we have a talent and culture team in each of our hotels. And a lot of those people actually started off in either housekeeping and front desk, in other positions, and then decided that they really want to work in talent and culture, and were internally able to progress into the departments that they want to work in. So that is a big piece for us. And then finally on this, it's the benefits as well. So again, if you do work for Fairmont, you'll have a lot more people that will come to you and say, can I be your friend? Because we get a friends and family discount. So employees get 50% discount in North America for Fairmont properties. And then we also get discount from all Accor properties all around the world. So if you want to travel, maybe you want to have a vacation, maybe you just want to, you know, go to a nice fine dining restaurant, the spa, whatever it may be, you can get discounts on all of those pieces all around the world. So in regards to applying for our positions, here is the link. So as I mentioned, we're part of Accor. So all of our positions are on careers.accor.com. The process to apply is that all candidates need to apply online. I'd recommend you go onto the website. You can filter by city, so you can filter by Vancouver, Richmond, or any city that you want to filter by, and then look at the positions. Ensure you meet any essential requirements. If you don't meet the desirable requirements, that's not necessarily a problem, but if there is something essential, ensure you meet that, and then apply online. The second stage of the process is an online assessment. And so before we actually look at your resume at all, and what we're looking at is you as a person. You know, I always say that we don't hire resumes, we hire people. So we want to know who you are, and we want to know that this is the right position for you. So the assessment is a series of questions, and they're behavioral questions. And essentially what we're looking for is, do you share the same values that we have as an organization? And do you share the right skill set for the position? Because we want you to be in the right position, and we want you to be happy in that role as well. So that assessment is very, very important. And that's where I would really recommend, as a candidate, you focus your attention. If you don't score well in the assessment, we don't even look at your resume. You know, unfortunately, we then can't hire you because we want to make sure you're the right fit. If you do score well in the assessment, then the hiring manager would look at resume. And in regards to interviews, it can be between 1 and 2 interviews, dependent on the level of position and seniority of that role. One other thing that I want to touch upon around this is around salary. So in regards to, you know, salaries and pay, it's also something that's quite important. And, you know, typically it's not, you know, I would say it's not common for a lot of people to want to discuss that, but it does impact everyone, and everyone does want to know that, you know, that if they're going into a position, that position is going to meet their financial needs. So first of all, in terms of our salaries and pay, we see ourselves as leaders in luxury hospitality. And so we try to ensure that our salary and pay is industry leading. And in most cases it is, but we also have room for negotiation as well. I think often there can be misconceptions about, what a salary can look like and what people can realistically earn. And, it's often a lot better than people think. In addition to this, as of the 1st of November, all employers are required to post a salary or salary range within their job postings as well. So when you do go onto our website for all of the positions that have been posted as of the 1st of November, you'll see either a salary or the range there. In regards to those salaries, just to give you some examples, it does really depend upon the hotel and the position. But if you are in a position where you're going to spend a lot of time with guests and a lot of guest interaction, typically your hourly salary is lower because you make the majority of your money through tips and gratuities. If you are in a position where you have less contact with guests, then your hourly salary will be higher, knowing that you're going to make less through tips. So as an example, if you are, let's say you start as a housekeeping attendant, if you don't have any experience, you get training, you don't need any specific qualifications for that role. Dependent on the hotel, your hourly salary for housekeeping can be between $24 and $29 an hour. So for an entry-level position that doesn't require experience, that's a pretty good hourly salary. Now, if, for example, you were able to secure a position as, let's say, a server, and that server is in one of our fine dining restaurants. Let's say it's a server at the Botanist in Fairmont Pacific Rim. You can potentially make, let's say you worked a Friday and Saturday, you could potentially make $2,000 or $3,000 in tips quite easily on top of your hourly salary. So that's, I think, a good way to understand those differences between those types of positions. For our positions that are in other departments, less guest facing, like marketing, talent and culture, IT, etc., the salaries, you'll be able to see them clearly posted on the positions website. Okay, so I also wanted to share some information with you about an event that we're hosting. So we are hosting an event and it's taking place next week, Tuesday. The event is called Future Link. And the idea is this is a career expo and job fair to really help people understand the hospitality industry as a whole, the different departments. It's an opportunity to meet leaders and connect and network with people in person. We often find that, when you're applying online, you don't really get that interaction with people, and that's often what you're missing out on. And so this event really talks to that piece. It's not limited to Fairmont. So we are hosting it. I've put the event together, but we have about 22 hotels that are attending, and I can show you the list of some of those hotels. They have a range of different positions, and it's an event. It's starting at 9:30. The idea is the morning is about preparing you for the industry, building your knowledge, helping you learn about the departments. You then have an opportunity to meet department leaders, have an informal conversation, find out what it's like to work in these departments. And then in the afternoon, there is a job fair where you can speak to all of the employers and you can meet them, apply for positions, etc. To make the event more accessible, in addition to it being in person, it's also available online through the Hoover app. So what this allows is that, maybe on the day, you're not available during those times. That's not a problem. Through the app, you can access the event at any point during the day, not just in those hours. And you can still see the recordings of those presentations. You can still find out about the positions and connect with some employers. In addition, we also have a couple of other pieces. So there is the opportunity in person to have free professional headshots. So that's something that can really help you if you're trying to maybe create a LinkedIn page and network and build connections through social media. And we also have a competition So the competition is called the FutureLink Passport Competition, and we have some very good prizes that are available as well. Some of those include free night stays in the hotels and a range of other prizes as well. Okay, so the event, as I mentioned, is next week, Tuesday, the 7th of November. In person, it's at Fairmont Hotel Vancouver. And if you want to attend online, it's through the app, through the Hoover app. So to register for the event, there are limited spaces. There's been a lot of interest. I know when I looked earlier today, we had about 450 people register so far. So a lot of interest to register. This is the link here. There's a QR code as well. So regardless of if you want to attend in person or online, you do need to register. When you click on Eventbrite and go to register, you can select if you want to attend in person or online. And then if you're attending in person, obviously you'll have the details you attend at Hotel Vancouver. If you're attending online, then once you've registered with Eventbrite, using the same email address you used to register, download the Hoover app, and on the day, use your same email address and you'll be able to access all of the information, the recordings and the event through the app as well. So in regards to employers and sponsors, so we, in terms of Fairmont Hotels, are putting this event together, and I'm predominantly myself. But in addition to myself, we have a support and a sponsor through Partners in Tourism. For anyone who isn't familiar, Partners in Tourism is a non-profit that is focused on supporting people into the hospitality industry. So it supports candidates, it helps with training, connecting with employers, and a range of other pieces as well. So they are kindly sponsoring the event. And here are some of the hotels that are attending. I wanted to make sure that the event was not just limited to Fairmont, and that we have, really, a lot of the hotels from, Vancouver that are there. So the majority of the hotels in Metro Vancouver will be there and attending. So there's quite a few there, and that includes places like Shangri-La, Marriott, River Rock, of course, Fairmont, Weston, and Sutton Place and Sandman, Hilton, quite a few others there as well. So again, a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different employers, different locations. So it's well worth checking out. Okay, so that is the presentation. In regards to questions, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, I would encourage anyone that is interested, if you're interested in Fairmont Hotels as a whole, check out our website, have a look at our careers there. And if you're interested in the FutureLink event, then check out the link on Eventbrite and register there as well. Okay, and I'll welcome any questions or any comments anyone has.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Manny, for that presentation. That was really, really informative. I know before we hit record, we were talking a little bit about how you present for some high schools, and you mentioned that not only, I guess you had said that the thinking behind hospitality, sometimes people just think of front desk agent, like you had mentioned, or housekeeping, but there's many, many opportunities, like you said, like in marketing, HR, finance. And going back to like presenting to high school students, like like you said, there's a lot of like entry level positions available. Yeah, so for those people, what are some things that you would like for them to like maybe highlight on their resume, if they, coming from high school, no experience, and wanting to maybe get into the hospitality sector?
Yeah, that's a great question, Josh. So I think, when you are starting out, when you're maybe young and you're looking at career options, I think everyone can relate to being unsure about, what they really want to do, what is the right type of career for them. And I would encouraging people to really be open-minded, do research, speak to people, find out what's involved in these positions. And when you do find out more information, that's really ultimately going to lead you to some direction of what is the right type of position to apply for. So once you've done some research, you've spoken to people, you have an idea about what you want to do, then you want to look at, okay, what is the best avenue to get into that position? So as an example, if you say, okay, I want to get into marketing, or I want to get into talent and culture, or maybe I want to be an accountant. Yes, we have all of those positions. But how, as a young person, do you get into those departments if maybe you don't have the experience and you're starting out? So there's a couple of options. One option that people choose to do is they tend to apply for positions that are not necessarily in that department, but their focus is to get into the employer. So they get a position with Fairmont. And the biggest benefit of this is all of our job postings are posted internally first for 5 days. If we find a good candidate internally, we don't go external. So as a candidate, you're able to apply for a lot more positions and able to sort of progress into any department. If you're going to apply for a position in a marketing department and you have no experience, the question that the hiring manager would want to know is, how can you market and promote something that you have no knowledge or experience of, right? If you don't know what we do, you don't know where we are and what we offer and what services, then it's going to be very difficult to do that. So by doing that first piece of maybe getting a position with Fairmont, learning who we are, meeting guests, understanding, what the vibe of the hotel is and who we are and how we promote our hotel is going to help you then secure that position. So that's one option. The second option is maybe you say, look, that isn't right for me. I only want to work in the particular department that I've chosen. Okay, we do have some intern opportunities as well. So all of our positions are paid. We don't hire anybody on a sort of an unpaid position at all. But we do have some opportunities. For example, this year I hired 2 interns in marketing, 1 intern in sales, and 1 in talent and culture. So those positions, they don't come up all the time, but they're very much dependent on the candidate. If you're great, if we feel that you have the right skill set, then we're willing to sort of offer you a position and invest in you. And when you are applying, I think it's important that, you can get across, all of the knowledge that you have, and that you understand who we are and our brand. I think that's really, really important. Okay.
All right, thank you, Manny. I'll open the floor to anyone else that might want to ask Manny a question.
You can go ahead.
Go
Hi,
ahead,
Manny.
Jeannie.
It's so great to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Just a quick question, Manny. I am really curious to know what Fairmont hotels are doing in order to, what are their efforts towards Indigenous reconciliation? Is there anything that you guys are doing for that piece?
Yeah. So it's something that's really important to us. And as an organization, our focus is, how can we work with the community? How can we essentially build those relationships? So part of my role, and there's other people within Fairmont who we reach out to organizations, we try to build partnerships, we try to learn, what can we do differently, right? We have those conversations, and the first piece is just that learning. It's just trying to take in that knowledge and say, okay, well, what do we need to do? And we want to make sure that the relationship is there to be able to find out that information. Once we then find out that information, whether this is around our hiring process, whether it's around building partnerships with specific organizations, we then say, okay, let's look at doing that. So we work with a range of different organizations. We work with a few. I obviously work with yourselves, but we also work with quite a few First Nation communities as well. We try to promote our positions, and we also try to look at our hiring process and say, what can we do differently? So I think it's really that relationship building, the understanding, and really trying to build the awareness within the organization, because it's something that's really important to us, and it's something that we are committed to doing.
Thanks, Manny. On that note, I actually just wanted to ask about the application process. Is there anything in the application process where someone could self-identify as an Indigenous person?
That's a good question. So at the moment, there isn't, and that's where that piece that actually recently came up in a conversation that I had with an organization, and they said, look, if you want to really focus on building those relationships and making the hiring process more accessible, then this is something that you can look at. So what we're now looking at is, can we have our typical hiring process, but can we create something that specifically allows us to sort of access that information, allows us to be able to work closely with these organizations and with the communities, and really highlight that. At the moment, the hiring process doesn't necessarily do that. But what I do personally is, because I work with a lot of the organizations, I often ask them, if you have a candidate, yes, get them to apply online, but also maybe share their resume with me, because what I can then do is I can go to the hiring manager and say, look, this candidate's applied online, but also this is, a candidate from a community that we want to work really closely with. And is there any way that we can, get this candidate to an interview to give them that opportunity, right? So that's something that I do as well, to help.
Oh, that's great to know. Thanks, Manny. Does anyone else have any questions? Jamie, Andrew, or Ernest? Feel free to jump in if you have any questions.
And that's okay if you don't.
That's okay.
It's not
Yeah.
a problem. If anyone does want to connect with me through social media, you can connect with me through LinkedIn. I often use LinkedIn. I headhunt candidates as well. So if I have a position, looking for a candidate, I often reach out to people there. I'd recommend you have a look on our website. And speak to people as well. Generally we have a pretty good reputation, and I think if you speak to people, find out if it's the right type of employer for you, if they're the right types of positions for you, and then if you are interested, then definitely have a look on our website, and I would encourage you to attend the event as well, whether that's in person or online.
Well, if no one else has any questions, I just want to thank Manny for presenting to us today and for giving us his time and great insight on what the Fairmont Pacific Rim has to offer. I really hope you enjoyed the session today.
I think you've frozen there. I'm not...
Yeah.